Hello and welcome to Your New Dad. That's me, John Freeman. Stoked to be here. Hope you're having a great week. You know, something occurred to me today. I feel amazing. Why do I feel amazing? I had a full night of sleep. Yep, I had a dream where there was a person I wronged and I apologized to him and everything was great. I woke up, I felt amazing. And today I have just been smiling, feeling relaxed, feeling like everything is amazing. Incredible what a good night of sleep can do for you. And guess what? The opposite is true, at least for me. When I get a bad night's sleep, and then if it's 2 nights of bad sleep, 3 nights or a week, whatever, man, am I like a different person. Irritable, eggy, angry, upset. People say something to me and I'm like, ugh, and then I'll dwell on it all day long. So the point is, get your sleep right. I remember when I was in my roaring 20s and I was going out all the time, doing things in bars that I should not have been doing, going to the club, disco, just having a great time. And my mother and my father, they would say, you should really go to sleep before 2:30 a.m. And I was like, what? That's just when the fun starts. But they were right. I would have been a much more productive human. So sleep. Dial it in, folks. Make it a priority. They say 8 hours. I say 10 or even 9. Delicious. It's like time travel. You close your eyes and then you're on a magical journey in your brain with all the drugs that it releases. It's like a psychedelic acid trip. Never done LSD. Don't have to. Go to sleep every night and dream. So just want to start off by saying, get yourself some good rest and you will be amazed. It's always the simple things in life, isn't it? Don't eat like a crazy person. Trust me. I've treated this body like a science experiment for many years. It's not good. Eat healthy. Oh, and like a house plant, water yourself. That's right. Drink water. Hydration station, baby. And you will be locked in and dialed. Sorry, I'm just overwhelmed with how much better I feel. We are fascinating machines. Today, I want to talk about something. Young men, if you're out there and you have survived into your 20s, that is a great thing because one of the highest rates of death for young people is accidents. Yeah. Whether you're young or you're in your teens, if you make it out of there, you got a pretty decent shot. But into your 20s, things can get squirrely. Yes, sir. That's when all the boozy McFoozy starts. And sometimes it starts before that. And depending on the people you hang out with, things can get really nasty. It's not until you get past 40 that you're probably not going to die from an accident. So let me just say this. I cannot tell you how many stories and how many times I responded, sadly, tragically, to accidents with teenagers in cars. And oftentimes there was a person who was a passenger in that car, maybe multiple people in that car who lost their lives because the driver was doing something really, really dumb. I myself was in a car one time with a fella, must have been about 17, and he was driving so fast to the point that me and the other passenger were like, please slow down, please slow down. And he was just laughing and thought it was hilarious. I never got in a car with that dude again. And guess what? That dude sucked to begin with. I shouldn't have even had him as a friend. I know so many people, young people, who have their rowdy group. They're rowdy boys, you know, because girls like bad boys. At least where I grew up, that's how it was. And these were well-to-do South Orange County children of means. Yet they got lost in a world of pills, a world of steroids, and a world of mixed martial arts. And I remember looking at them just going, dude, what is going on with these cats? But that is part of being a man when you are young. You are filled with testosterone, at least some young men are. And it doesn't mean you have to be a jock or a wrestler or whatever. The baseline from 14 to like 22 is you are littered with testosterone. You are just filled to the brim. You're like a superhuman. But with that comes some things that are a little bit wild, like the instinct to want to fight people, the instinct to want to drive fast, the instinct to want to get crazy. Can't tell you how many times, so cliche, I saw guys do really, really, really dumb things to try to impress a girl. Your ego's not usually in control yet. And if you come from a household where your dad was a psychopath, maybe you didn't have the best examples showing you what a man should be. So you end up seeing fights. There never should have been a fight to begin with. Someone's head hits the curb, and now they're in serious trouble. And that person that double-legged that dude, it was a beautiful double leg, by the way, is in prison. Yay, not good. Saw so many young people. And unless you can find a way to channel all of that energy, sports are great. Awesome way to do that. But there are a lot of healthy choices besides going completely nuts. And I'm talking to the people that maybe didn't have the best examples around them. We all know people who are studs when they're young and they got great parents, and that aggression seems to be channeled. They're respectful to the ladies. They got their act together. They have what we call a good head on their shoulders. God love them. That's what you like to see. But so many folks that I knew, they were going down a dark, dark path. And with the exception of a handful of them, they are either dead or still struggling with serious addiction issues later in life, now in their 40s. And they are covered in tattoos that maybe they don't really like. You want to hear something very interesting? I found this very interesting. And no knock to my friends that love the tats, but I have noticed something. People that tend to have a lot of self-esteem, very few tattoos, and perhaps no tattoos. Because when you're young, it's just another expression of, how can I look cool? This looks cool. Do I look tough? Used to be sailors, bikers, and people in the military or prison. That's who had the tattoos. Now it's every Joe, Dick, and Harry. I personally don't have any. Yeah, never got the ink. And I think part of it is I just always sort of liked who I was, but I also have terrible fashion sense. Don't care about clothes. And in fact, I don't really trust people that are too into fashion. I know you might think that's a strange thing for your dad to say, but I just think work on your personality, right? Work on having great energy, a pleasant disposition, and being fun to be around, and being kind to others. That is the most attractive thing that never goes out of style. If you love fashion, good for you. Not my cup of tea. I also might be colorblind and apparently can't match anything. Every time I leave the house, my wife goes, "What are you doing?" But at this point, she's pretty much rolled over and said, "Whatever you want to look like. You're a homeless dude living in the riverbed. That's fine. That's on you. But someday I might get into fashion. Who knows?" The point is, my young listeners, if you made poor decisions when you were young, stop it. Stop it. I hope you're not still making bad decisions. Surround yourself with a new group of people that are fun to be around, that have your best interest in mind, and really care about you. Now, don't get me wrong. I love hanging out with some of my friends that I've known for 30, 35 years. And we talk like we're in the 8th grade, the 7th grade, but we never really discuss things that really matter. In fact, sadly, I can't tell you how many times total that someone's really looked me in the eye and said, "How are you doing?" and actually meant it. And that's kind of a reflection of probably the people I've surrounded myself with. But those are the ones you love. Those are the real ones. When you look at somebody and you actually mean it and you say, "I care about you. how are you doing? That is when somebody will open up to you and tell you what is really going on. Those are the type of people that you want to find. So when you're growing up outside of sports, what are some other things we can do to try to live a life without getting killed? And remember, your friends can get you killed. Yep. Whether you're just getting into shooting firearms, bam, bam, and your friends think they should be drinking while they're shooting firearms.